something that he didn't like. He and Pete Hegseth are trying to prosecute me. In the case of the Department of Defense, trying to reduce me in rank and take away some of my pension. So I will be sitting there to make sure that he knows that so far he has failed and that the American people are really not into this. He's violated my constitutional rights. He's violated the constitutional rights of thousands of people across the country, especially when you consider the folks in Los Angeles and Minnesota. We've got 2 dead Americans, scores of other beaten up by federal agents who are poorly trained and not following any kind of standards of procedures for law enforcement. I'm the son of 2 police officers. I know it's a hard job, but what these folks are doing in Minnesota is wrong, and I think in some cases it's criminal. They're going into people's houses without warrants. This agency is out of control, needs to be overhauled. I was in Munich last week. I think to say there is a profound loss of trust in the United States is, I think, even really comes up short of what our relationship is now with most of our allies. And I got to say, if you're Greenland, you're now afraid of us. It's going to take generations to repair the damage that this president did in just 1 year. So I'm not looking forward to this speech. You know, I expect the president to not be straight with the American people and to not have an explanation to them about why they are poorer and less safe. But I'll be in that chamber tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Lujan. Thank you, Chuck. Everyone, thank y'all for being here. Look, when you all are at the grocery store, just like people all over the country, you know if food is more expensive or if it's not. And the reason I say that is, as Senator Klobuchar reminded us moments ago, President Trump keeps calling all of this a hoax. The notion that food is more expensive, that everything President Trump promised would be less expensive is now more expensive. And all he's doing is putting more and more dollars in his own pocket. What Donald Trump's doing is just making life harder for each and every one of you, for each and every one of the people across America, for each and every one of us. His administration cut food assistance at a level that we've never even imagined could occur. Grocery prices remain high, forcing seniors, veterans, families, moms and dads, grandma, grandpas, and kids to simply pay more for less. All of this, well, we've heard time and time again, and we see it. All he's doing is finding ways to make himself richer. Take $1 from the American people, put it in his pocket. That's all he cares about. As every one of my colleagues has reminded us here today, as well as Leader Schumer, look, it just comes down to this. Costs, chaos, and corruption, one after another. Pick an issue. Pick a day. Pick an hour of the day. I mean, heck, even pick a time of the day when the president can't sleep and decides to go to social media and tell the American people how he's lining his own pockets, how he's creating more chaos, and he's not shy about the corruption. He just says he's going to do it. One lie after another. And that's what we're going to hear tonight. One lie after another from this president to the American people. He's going to tell them how handsome he is, how nice his hair looks. And he's going to ignore all the challenges that people are facing while complimenting himself and saying that the American people just don't understand what's going on. Look, as we come together tonight, let's not forget about the high costs that are hurting families. How expensive food is for each and every one of you in this room. You know the difference between the truth and the bullshit. There's something that we can do about this in coming together and just tell the facts. I hope that that's what comes across tonight while holding this president accountable. And I certainly look forward to hearing from Governor Abigail Spanberger and from United States Senator Alex Padilla.
Thank you. Last but not least, Senator Gallego.
I always bring the rookie to be the cleanup hitter. First of all, thank you everyone for being here.
Has a 300 batting average.
I do. It gets you into the Hall of Fame. Look, what we're going to hear tonight is very simple. This president has made this country sicker and poorer. And if you look at every way that has occurred, it has been deliberative. Number one, what did this president do as soon as he got in? He went right after Medicaid and started cutting the most vulnerable people in this country. And I'm not talking just people in our urban areas. Rural Arizona. I traveled rural Arizona. I was talking to some of our hospital systems that are worried about how they're going to keep their systems open because they know now that this administration has abandoned them and they're going to have to make some really hard decisions. Will they keep their OB ward open? Will they keep their x-ray machines open? Will they have to shut down the emergency room? Why? Because this president wanted to make sure they had enough money to give the richest of the richest a tax cut. And what was left over to that, they used to supercharge this massive, massive deportation policy that is racially profiling people, pulling over Americans, violating their Fourth Amendment rights, and killing Americans in the streets. That is what this president started with. And let's move on forward there. How much sicker can you get? When we all had an agreement, we all said, yes, healthcare costs are expensive. We all understand that things can be better. But the last thing we should do is pull the rug out from millions of Americans that rely on these healthcare subsidies. And now we have millions of Americans that are making a hard choice between, shall I buy health insurance for my family or should I just risk it and keep going? That president and these Republicans made that choice. There are millions of Americans right now that are suffering, either having to pay more and now they're poorer, or they're not getting health insurance and now they're sicker. That was a decision by this administration. And every day they're making a decision that makes things harder and harder. We all talk about grocery prices. Let me tell you about grocery prices. I have 3 kids, all under the age of 10. I have to feed those kids, and it is expensive. Thank God I get a good salary, but I cannot imagine how someone like my mom, raising 4 kids on her own, can deal with these grocery prices every day. And then this president just treats the tariffs as if it's his little toy that he can manipulate his friends, bring down some bribes for the corruption that he keeps on doing, and everyday Americans are paying it. And guess what? Supreme Court just said you can't do it. Where is the refund that's going to come for these Americans? The average American paid $1,000 to $1,200 last year because of these tariffs. Are they getting the refund? No. The big corporations are going to get it. They're going to get it. But where is that family going to get that relief? It's not coming. It's not coming because this president does not care about working class people at all. And he is going to continue to make us sicker and poorer. And that's just what you're going to hear tonight. Thank you.
His batting average just went up higher.
Slugging percentage.
Slugging. Yes.
A significant number of members of your caucus are not attending the State of the Union. Are you disappointed by that? Have you urged members to attend?
No, I think it's up to each member to make his or her choice. And some are coming and some are going and some are not.
Do you think protests are possible?
Yes. Go ahead, Bim.
So you said you're not going to negotiate in public on the DHS funding situation.
Mm-hmm.
If the president does bring up that during speech tonight, will that change your calculations?
Well, it depends what he says. I mean, so far, they have not budged on the key issues like masks, like warrants, like oversight from state authorities. It depends what he says. So far, we've heard crickets from them. Nothing. They're not negotiating. They're just trying to pass paper back and forth with no real changes. Yes.
Mr. Schumer, I understand you're meeting this afternoon with Secretary Rubio.
Yes.
To discuss Iran. What questions are you going to ask and what message do you have to
Well,
give?
first and foremost, if they want to do something in Iran, and who the hell knows what it is, they should make it public and discuss it with the public and not keep it in secret. When you do these military operations in secret, it always causes longer wars, tragedy, more expenses, and mistake. Okay? Last one.
Sure, thank you. Tomorrow, big hearing for the Surgeon General nominee. What do you make of that nominee? And what do you make of the health policy of the Trump administration?
Well, I'm going to wait for the hearing, but his nominees thus far have been really bad, and this one seems to be the same way. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Good job.
All right, 3:05.